Hello. So today we're gonna go over a STORYWEAVER game. The portal that you might have not noticed is it didn't show up in the VOD recording, but it's the Zoe portal that makes it so only odd levels occur, right? So as you can see, I'll point it out as soon as my inking app loads in. But basically, this is a game where there's only odd levels, right? So what does that mean? It means that you could only level to like 3, 5, 7, etc. Right? So if we look at the side, as you can see on the little spot right here, it costs 12 gold to level up. This is different from normally, right? There is no level 4. Only odd levels exist this game, right? It's an encounter that exists in the game. I didn't get to show you the encounter, but you can basically only be level 3, level 5, level 7, and level 9. Now, the game plan, typically with these lobbies, is that you want to reroll level 7, or you want to go fast 9, right? So in this world, there's a couple of really good fast 9 comps. The ones that are really good fast 9 comps, I'll go over it really quickly with the augments, right? Generally, STORYWEAVER is one of the best fast 9 comps. It's been for like most of the game, right? So the reason it's so good is because basically what you do is you just have Kale as a main carry, and you're just playing STORYWEAVER units. And then on level 9, you have like a decently strong board. And basically, because you're strong, you save so much HP early game, because basically you're playing with +1 unit, right? This Kale is an extra unit that's just doing a bunch of damage. So typically these style of comps, like for example, Ink Shadow is a similar way, where it gives you like an extra resource, it gives you like a whole item. Here it gives you like a whole unit that does damage. So built diff, I'm a little bit scared to take it. I haven't tried it. I haven't looked at the stats since it was good or bad. These two look a bit awkward. I just take STORYWEAVER Crest, right? What STORYWEAVER Crest guarantees is that I can hit those thresholds a lot easier, right? The big thresholds are 5/7 STORYWEAVER, right? For 5 STORYWEAVER, you usually need a Zoe, right? Because like you can find a Riven, right? As you can see, I'm already 3 STORYWEAVER, and I can play like a better unit. I don't have to play the Riven right now, right? But basically, if we look, I'm 3 STORYWEAVER, I have the Riven, so that's 4 STORYWEAVER. I'm just looking for probably like a Zoe or like one of the other STORYWEAVER units if I can just happen across them, right? And then for 7 STORYWEAVER, this is the big part. 7 STORYWEAVER, you typically need Irelia. But with a STORYWEAVER emblem, you don't need the Irelia. So hitting those breakpoints early, make sure that you have really good tempo in the lobby, and that way you can make it to 9 really fast. Now, I'm not sure if I handled the board particularly well. Typically, when you get to level 9, what you want to do is you want to switch out some of your units for like legendary units and drop down from like 7 to 5 STORYWEAVER. I don't think 7 STORYWEAVER is like the end game situation. I think this game I ended with 7 STORYWEAVER. It was just like lack of an ability to really pivot my board. Just because of like resources and money. It took me a really long time to find the Irelia too. So I just stuck with the 7 STORYWEAVER. It's also because I played a different line here, which isn't the strongest line, but it's more of like a guaranteed, quote unquote guaranteed line. I'm trying to play more guaranteed stuff. Basically, like, I don't know if people have the similar experience, but you can see my tracker history. I basically lost all my LP. I was like at 170 LP. It happens. It's okay. I expect to go up and down until I like gain enough of a skill set to be like much better than my peers, and then I can like rank up to Grandmaster and higher than that, right? I expect to like, you know, greatly rank up and greatly rank down based on like how some games go if I'm in an awkward situation, right? These 8s were a little bit experimental, but like a lot of the games that I'm playing, like, you know, like when you hit like the 0 LP threshold in a lobby, I feel like anybody can relate to this. If you're trying to rank up and you hit like, for example, like let's say you're starting out, you hit gold 4 or you hit plat 4, or you like, you know, you're better and you hit like diamond 4, you hit master 0, right? The people in the lobbies are fucking shitheads. Like, I'm gonna be real, pardon my French. Holy shit. Like they're honestly like constantly bitching. Any chance they have to grief someone, they're just gonna grief. They're always upset. Anyways, I hit the 5 STORYWEAVER because I don't need to find the Zoe. This is why I was saying the spat's really good, because I can find the Riven. I can find Riven and Zyra pretty easily, and then I just find the Sivir. So now I'm 5 STORYWEAVER, so I level up. So I'll have a good, this is what I mean by you'll be really far ahead, right? I have upgrade, 5 STORYWEAVER, Kale double buff, right? and this Kale will scale into late game as well. So it works out really nicely. But anyways, what I'm saying is, like, I was playing one of these games, like 2 of these 8s, I was just getting straight griefed by somebody, and we went like 7-8. And my spot was better. It just worked out like the RNG of like matchups. Like, I would have gone 7th if I didn't fight like the same guy who was giga capped twice in a row, right? And that's not even like an exaggeration, right? I would have gone over these losses. Like, I used to do that on my YouTube channel, but typically people get upset when you go over a loss. Like, I had a lot of, like, those ones are my worst videos by far, so I made a vow to never go over losses again, right? But anyways, like, people just play like such, like I really want to rank up. Like, this is the same way I felt when I was in Emerald, right? When I was in like Emerald 4, I think there's like no difference between Emerald 4 players and Master 0 LP players. I feel like mentality wise, like on average, the average player in both those lobbies, like, holy shit, it's so annoying. Like, that's why I deafen all the time, if you guys don't see me deafen. But maybe you guys notice this in like your number 4s of every level up that you do. It's like, because the 4 is like the buffer where a lot of people, like, how do I phrase it? Like, you know, like if you lost a lot of LP, let's say you're in Emerald and you're like Emerald 2, and then you go on a bad game streak, and then now you're like Emerald 4 0 LP. Because the 0 LP is like this buffer that kind of collects all of the people. I feel like it collects all of the low mental people. Like, all of the people that are like angry and upset and tilt queuing, it's just like a basin that catches them like a net, and they all fall to this elo. And then when you're in a lobby with them, it's just the most unfun lobby ever, because instead of like playing like normal people, they're just playing like the most like absurd. Like, you can't read them. You can't like look at their board and say, oh, that's what comp they're leaning towards. It's like, no, at a whim's notice, they will pivot and grief and then type in chat and be upset that you're griefing when you were like playing the board anyways. And it's like, what the fuck is going on here, right? This is more like a reroll specific, right? You can't really grief like a 4 cost like board as much. I'm talking like rerolls, obviously. But like, you know, like, I'll have like a good spot for a reroll. I'll have like 5 copies of a unit. Then all of a sudden, some guy takes Prismatic Ticket, hard pivot, 0 copies of Zyra or Shen, and starts collecting them all. It's like, what? It's like, you could have taken any other augment. You have 0 Zyras and 0 Shens. It's like, why did you decide to take Prismatic Ticket and then just hard force this line? Right? And then we go 7-8. That's what happened in those ones. Anyways, so you might see less rerolls on. I think I'm gonna take a break from doing rerolls. I think every time I went bot 4 was a reroll comp. Some of the other ones, like the 5ths and the 4ths, those were like 4 cost ones, but at least like it's a 5th or a 4th. So I think until I climb to like a reasonable LP again, you won't see rerolls on this channel, which is unfortunate. Also, the tutorial guide will be coming out probably tomorrow. I keep not doing it. Yesterday I was playing too many games, as you can see. Also, a little break here for this. Oops, no, I need to do this. Thank you for all the support. If you haven't subscribed, make sure to subscribe. We're going to have an RP giveaway at 500 subs. We just finished our previous giveaway, so make sure to subscribe if you want to be entered in that. And follow the instructions when we get close to our goal. Thank you. But yeah, anyways, I'm just kind of talking because, like, you know, I'm trying to fill the air. There's like a little bit, there's not much to look at here. If you haven't seen the Storyweaver line, basically all I'm doing is I'm trying to play 7 Storyweaver. Because there's only odd level intervals, I don't really feel a need to do anything. I did lose a fight here to a duelist player. I think they had a Kiana 2, right? I didn't mention it, but I lost 1 round here, which makes me a little bit more poor. So it's kind of sad. I really wanted to level up really fast to like, you know, to fast 9 and be very strong. But basically what you're doing is you're kind of playing like Kale primary carry. You can also play this line with a Kaisa, for example. Kaisa works really well with it. And you can also play it with like Irelia, Lee Sin. Like, you can play some like capped Dragon Lord. I think the highest cap version is a vertical like Dragon Lord Sage, right? So you play like Rakan, Lee Sin, what's the other one? Wukong. And then you play like the Storyweavers that match the board, right? But you play like this Altruist, Sage, Dragon Lord, max cap level 9 board, and then you play 5 Storyweaver. Typically, right? Typically. In this case, I'm looking at my items. I don't really have like good items to slam, right? What I really want is frontline items, right? Kale is doing the majority of the damage. I was talking to my friend. My friend said that when you play Kale carry, my friend is like challenger player. He said that you're supposed to go blue, or typically he sees people go blue and then, green and then blue if you're playing Kale carry. Just because you don't want to grief positioning. You kind of want your Kale to like always do the shred, even though the shred isn't as strong as like a shred component. And then it's blue after that, right? I've seen triple blue as well. I'm okay with trying out green, blue. I think in a prior game I went red, blue when I went 4th. I'm not going to show that one. Anyways, you can reroll the augment one extra time. I hit Fine Vintage. Here we'll look at the stats. Fine Vintage is really strong with Vertical Storyweaver. I find like from this game, I don't think it's like broken strong, but it's like really strong. It's like one of the best things I can hit, and I also don't have items to slam, right? So it actually works out perfectly, right? But let's say I put like 7 Storyweaver. And then let's look at augments, right? And let's go like silver augments. Unified, Band of Thieves, Harm Assist, Fine Vintage, right? So these ones are like if you're playing like a maxed out board and you're like very strong. Like obviously Unified works really well. It synergizes really well to give you a lot of frontline. Band of Thieves is something that's very tempo based, right? Band of Thieves is basically like the best silver augment. I know it's like a Thieves Gloves. It doesn't seem that good, but just having a silver augment give you 2 whole items, because a Thieves Gloves essentially is 2 items. It puts you in such a strong position. Like it puts you in such an insane position in the game, because relative to other silver augments, it puts you in like a really good spot. That's why the stats on it are always good. Also, the numbers are going to be really low because it's 4.111. It's like the new patch. Maybe we should look at the old patch. But anyways, Fine Vintage, as you can see, it's very good, because basically what you do is you just take all the attack speed items and you put them on your Kale, right? And you just juice up the Kale with attack speed, and then you take out a lot of frontline items and you put them on your front line, and then you're just giga juiced, right? If we go this one, right, as you can see, Fine Vintage, right, they put misconnections, right, stationary support, right? Support items are really good if you're playing Vertical Storyweaver, as I was saying before, because you need to juice the Kale or juice your front line to stall for the Kale, right? And because Kale is your primary carry and Kale has built-in shred, like if you pick the shred Kale, you don't really care about items. Everything's dealt with by the Kale. If you're a beginner, right, if you're like a lower, I don't want to be, sorry, that may sound derogative. I mean, like if you're like starting out, you're not familiar with many lines in the game, right? You're in like, you know, below like diamond, emerald, like you're in an elo where you're not like quite sure, like not everybody's quite sure of every single line that's good. You don't look at stats and stuff like that. Playing Vertical Storyweaver is really strong because the Kale kind of does everything for you, right? Featherweights is good because you're playing a lot of 1 costs, right? And 2 costs, right? So this is a very simple line, right? And I want simplicity because the game's kind of wild because everybody's going to go fast 9. So I just want to make sure that I, you know, preserve as much HP as possible, right? I lose 1 fight, right? I'm going to lose maybe 1 or 2 fights now because even though I'm 5 Storyweaver, I am, Fine Vintaging my items, right? My items are on my bench. When it comes back, I'll point it out. There's a spat here. I don't really need another spat, right? I'm not really going to be playing towards 10 Storyweaver, but I'm down to take it, right? Here, I'm either going to take this, what's his name? This guy or the spat. The spat gets taken instantly, is not on my side. So I just take the, because when you have a spat, then I can still play 7 Storyweaver as well as that capped legendary board. That's the main reason why. But I take Galio. Galio's the missing link for Storyweaver, right? Now, all I need to hit is a Zoe. So what I'm going to do is just for tempo's sake, I'm going to level here, right? And I'm going to roll a little bit, right? I want to roll till around 30. I might roll a little bit deeper, but I do have stuff to sell on my bench. I'm basically just looking for a Zoe. I need 1 copy of a Zoe, and I'm set, right? For the rest of the game, pretty much. I get a Riven upgrade, and I find a Zoe, right? I rolled till 20, but I should be able to sell these Teemos and this, what's her name? Teemos and this Tristana. And now I'm 7 Storyweaver again, right? I should be able to make, I know I make 20, but I don't know if I can make 30. I don't think I can make 30. I rolled a little bit deeper, right? Buying that Riven was a problem, but I should be able to sell, and I still make 30, right? The reason making 30 is really important is because you gain +3 interest, right? The interest is on the side here. +3 interest plus round win makes it so that you make 40, right? And then if you make 40, the interest makes it so you make 50. And then you're back to reestablishing your econ. So it's actually really important. Like you'll see next turn, I'll be at 40 gold, right? If I was at 20, sometimes you don't make it, right? So see, I'm at 31, and then we'll go to the next turn, right? And I should be at 40. or close to 40, close enough that it's fine. This sucks because, see, I'm zooming in. Yorick appears right after I roll. See, I'm at 39, right? So I can sell this Garen, right? And then I'm at 40, right? What the main reason is that, like, if you're at 30 gold, it's really easy to make it to 40 so long as you round win. And then once you're at 40, you're guaranteed to make it to 50 because, as you can see, I'm one off of making it to here it's because I didn't have a streak, right? If you have a streak, you just need like a simple streak in order to make it guaranteed 40. But then if you're at 40, you're gonna make one extra interest, so then you'll be guaranteed to make 50, right? So that's why people say 30, then 40, then 50. If you roll too deep, like if you roll a 20, then it takes an extra couple turns to reestablish your econ, because when you're at 20, I would be at 38 here. I wouldn't be able to make it exactly. It becomes a lot harder, and then you have one more turn of lower interest, and then it becomes messy, right? But I definitely lucked out that nobody wanted this Galio. It makes it so that I spike now. If I didn't, I would have just econed up and go to level 7 this turn, and I wouldn't have rolled unless I had the Galio, and I would just roll on, like, you probably have to roll on 7 to try and find a Galio. That's the only really hard part on this style of game where you can only go level 9. But I am spiking because I'm gonna get my my items, right? I'm gonna get my support items. So now we're going to pop the anvils. It's Zeke's. Zeke's is the best one because it helps out the most. Banshees is pretty much okay, right? I don't really need Cleaver. Zephyr's okay. ZZ Rod's not really important, right? And then here, I was looking for maybe a frontline one because I got 2 backline ones. Randuin's is okay. I probably should have taken Randuin's. The reason I don't like Randuin's is because Locket is better, and I would have preferred to take Locket. But a Zeke's is okay. Like, what's it called? The Zephyr is okay, right? These two are pretty good, right? Banshees gives attack speed and makes it so that my kill can't get stunned, so that's good. Here I'm looking at my items, right? I would ideally like to have Irelia items if I can hit Irelia, right? So Runans is pretty good for Irelia, but I just decide to just find vintage everything, right? If I'm committed to 7 Storyweaver Kale, then you have to play like this. If you're not committed to 7 Storyweaver Kale, then what you would do is you would make components or make items for like your level 9 board, right? So whatever you're going to play on level 9, you would make items for those units, right? If you're playing this tempo to fast 9 to whatever, right? Here, this is like an awkwardly bad matchup, but I think my Kale is so giga juiced. Watch this Kale, ready? She's going to cast and everybody's going to die. Bang, everybody dies. So when you play blue Kale, right? When you're playing like double blue Kale, what happens is her cast is like wider. As you can see, it does like this, right? Here, I'll draw it after. I'll draw it better after, right? Her cast looks something. This guy would have hit Shen 3, but I don't think it would have made a difference. As you can see, I've narrowly lost it because it's ghostly and I'm dealing an attack speed comp. So like these rings, I was maybe like 3 autos away from dying. So the Shen 3 might have actually won this guy the round if he was a little bit faster on the 8 PM. But yeah, typically when you're playing this, it's either reroll or fast 9. I'm just going for like a quick fast 9. I kind of know that this isn't going to be like a firstable game unless I hit some crazy shit on level 9. But I'm kind of down for it. Combat Caster is a little bit awkward. I was trying to check stats here. I should check them now, actually. Because I might as well. I don't think I'm leveling this turn. Oh, I should close my, my email. And then, so stats. Let's see, 7 Storyweaver, fine vintage, and then I want gold augments. Martyr's good, yeah, just frontline. Epoch is good. Oh, Keepers is good. I didn't take Keepers. That's sad. I think Combat Caster is bad though. It's not even on here. It's not bad. It's bad without fine vintage. It's okay without fine vintage. I think with fine vintage is not as good because you lose some of the value because I already have like some of that. But typically it's like heavy hitters. Yeah, you just this is like the Garen reroll line. If I can remove Story Champion, it would make more sense, right? Because I think this is 7 Storyweaver is getting what's it called? It's getting tilted. It's getting swayed by some of these other lines like Story Champion, Spirit Guardians. Like these are not normal lines, right? Even heavy hitters and stuff like that, right? Learning to spell is probably good just in general, but Keeper's a lot better. I think I had the option of Keepers, right? Let's check. My augment. No, I had Combat Caster, I had Cyber Bulk, Bulk might have been good, but I don't like bulk that much. Threes or crowd isn't that great because I'm not playing many 3 costs, right? I'm only playing like 1 typically. Know your enemy. Yeah, I think Combat Caster was probably the best one, honestly. I remember I was confused with that, but I think Combat Caster is fine. It just doesn't feel like it synergizes well with some of the support items, right? Like it feels like diminishing returns, but I think it's okay. But anyways, the way Kale attacks, you position Kale in the middle, just because like you get more value, right? So when Kale attacks, she attacks in like a wide wave, right? So this is wide. So what you want to do is you want to put her in the middle so that she hits like the most units, right? So watch my Kale when she attacks, right? If I put her in the corner, there's a chance that the side waves don't hit everybody, right? So you see there, because like the Lee Sin was closer, it kind of didn't work out well, but the Lee Sin dies anyways. I might lose this fight anyways, but we'll see if my Kale can get a cast off. Yeah, this guy's very strong. Late game specialist sent it to 9 already, right? That's just a really good silver augment to take. But it's okay. But when Kale attacks, she attacks like a wide wave, and it kind of shoots like an arrow like this when you're playing blue Kale. So typically you put the Kale towards the middle so that it hits more of the frontline units, right? You want to kind of group, you want to hit like these wide front lines. And sometimes when you put Kale in the corner, when she does her wave, it only hits like 1 unit, so you lose a lot of damage output, right? So the risk of having her in the middle where it's slightly less safe, it's usually better just because you hit so many more units that her damage output, if you put her safer to the side, is actually just worse. Even though she's safer, it's not like she's ramping up in attack speed. So it's a little bit awkward. Like here, my positioning's bad. I should have put all of these like 1, 2, 3, 4 here so that the wave hits them all. Right? Watch when my Kale attacks. You see how she like didn't hit this and didn't hit this? It's not like it reduces damage if she hits more units. It does the same damage, right? So it's just like bad. It's just like bad. What's it called? It's just like bad unit placement. I win anyways because this guy's weak as shit, right? But anyways, I'm just preparing myself. Right after Carousel, I'm gonna go level 9, and I'm gonna try and like juice up my board. As you can see, we had really good tempo. We're gonna make it to level 9. This is probably a guaranteed top 4. This doesn't necessarily work all the time, by the way. This isn't like a mention to say 7 Storyweaver is like meta. It's like the best comp ever. There's another spat here. I'm contemplating if I take it, but I think somebody will take it instantly, right? Oh, like I'm last pick again, so I don't get it. But it is what it is. A lot of people aren't taking this spat, probably because there's like a duelist player or something in the lobby. It's just a little bit difficult. I check out this guy. This guy is so strong already. Yeah, because I was scouting that guy, I don't get the spat. Like, if you look at it, so like I could have maybe denied this spat. I'm not sure if it's the right decision though, because I'd rather just get an item or a component, right? I was scouting this guy. I should have been able to get this spat. I don't know. I'm not sure. We'll see later. I'll talk about it later. Just remember it. It's something that I wanted to look at. It's like, was it the right decision? Because I didn't want to just deny the spat for the sake of denying it. If I had the ability to make a Storyweaver emblem, I would. But it's like, what am I going to do with an extra spat? Hi, sorry. I had a jump cut. My thing sometimes crashes. I have to update it. But anyways, talk about the spat. I think the spat was kind of... like, I don't think it was like a straight grief, but I don't think it was the right decision to take the spat, which is why I didn't take it. That guy giga hit anyways, right? That guy's winning. Like, this guy's going first no matter what, right? I don't think the spat matters to him, right? The spat gives him a fawn though. It gives him like an extra +1 unit. For me, the spat is like kind of non-important, right? Because I can't even turn it into like a fine vintage item, which is why I didn't take it, right? If this was a chainmail, I'd probably take it just because like then I can guarantee like an extra Storyweaver spot and I can maybe cap my board a little bit higher. My thing cut out, so we might have not seen my level 9 roll down, but I basically just leveled to 9. I put in a random Nautilus over the, what's his name? The Jax, because the Nautilus is just better than Jax, and it gives me a little bit of frontline with Warden Bruiser. I put in Irelia, and then I have 2 Rivens in, just because, like, that's what got taken in on my board. I'm trying to figure out who I can switch in. Right now, I just have Sage in, because, like, I hit a Morgana, so whatever. We'll just play Sage for now. And it gives some backline AP. So I find vintage. I find another Zeke's. That's okay, right? One more Zeeks. I really want a frontline component here. Should I have taken something else? Wait, let me see the first anvil pop. Was there a frontline one? The problem is I don't have a frontline, right? I don't have anti-heal as well, but I don't think anti-heal really matters that much. Because I'm just trying to pump up a lot of damage. Oh, it's probably Moonstone. Yeah, it wasn't Zeke's, it was Moonstone. Fuck. Okay, that's a bad. That was a mistake. Okay, I saw the Zeke's and I took it too fast. It was definitely Moonstone. This Moonstone unit is so fucking broken. It gives so much frontline, right? You just put on a backline unit and they just live forever. And then I was late to get my Zeke, so I don't get the Zeke's value. This is the guy that I was talking about. That's just like so incredibly strong. So this guy, he basically got like an extra fawn, like an extra +1 spot. But if you look at his items or his augments, he's combat caster, magic wand, heavy hitters, right? And he's complete reroll. He's like reroll Kog'Maw and he hit early. He's full streaking the whole game. Like, that's what I mean. I don't think the spat really mattered because it's not like he's getting like 10 mythic off the spat. It's like it's an extra +1, which is really good for his reroll spot. But it's like, that's what I mean. I think it was better just to take something else. I put in this because eventually I want to play Lee Sin if I can. Or right now I can fit in Sage, right? 3 Sage at least. But this is what sucks. As you can see, I have no frontline items, right? So, I really needed to find, like, a frontline item. It was definitely take the Moonstone Gem. The Moonstone Gem is one of the most broken things ever. If you remember, it's always Moonstone, right? Moonstone is so fucking important. So, I just didn't see it. So, that's just a misplay on my part. I don't think it changes much in my average placement. I went 3rd this game, spoiler alert. But, like, you know, I might go, like, you know, I'm still gonna go top 4, right? I don't think I would have got 2nd. But yeah, let's I'll show you the stats on the items, right? So let's go like here. Let's go stats, right? So if we're talking like support items, right? Moonstone, right? It's so good. Vantage is also good. Some of these are skewed because of the comps that you play them, but I really wanted one of these two, right? Zeke's, it doesn't say that it's that good, but it's specifically because Kale like scales with attack speed, right? If I saw an Eternal Flame, this also gives me anti-heal, so I might have taken this, right? But it was almost always Moonstone there because this health shield that it gives is so fucking important. I'm lacking frontline, right? But I just missed it, right? So I took another Zeke's, and that's just my bad. So, like, primarily, like, usually you prioritize having at least one Zeke's, like, some backline items, right? Aegis is also really well, because you just Aegis the front unit, and then you just make sure that the Kale gets the Aegis. Here, I'm losing some Zeke's value, yes, like, it hits 2 on each side, right? And I'm only hitting 1 on this side, but I don't want to Giga Grief my positioning just because of this. Here I lose Sage, I put in Dragon Lord. Dragon Lord might be diminishing returns. I have so many Zeke's, but I wanted to play a Duelist anyways, right? I want to have Duelist in for Irelia because I think that it helps. And I do have Irelia too. She has a Zeke's in 1 item. I had to put the Zeke's on her just because I didn't want to... You can't double Zeke's a unit, and I didn't want to Zeke's a frontline unit. But I should have probably Zeke's the frontline unit because this hurts my max cap as well, right? But in my head, I said that I'm always going to be Zeke'sing the corner, so it's good to have it on Irelia because then I can Zeke's both corners. Sorry, I keep saying Zeke's. Sorry, Zephyr. I meant to say Zephyr. But I have the Zephyr on the Irelia, so I can Zephyr both corners here, and I can Zephyr this corner as well. And this is like my movable Zephyr. I'm trying to figure out where I put it. They gave a support item when I'm reading what Spite does. It's probably Eternal Flame here, right? Technically, my Shred isn't the best, so Obsidian Cleaver would be good value, but this gives me anti-heal for right now. Right, so I just take Eternal Flame. It's really diminishing returns for me because everybody else gains a support item that can really help their board. Like, I think one of the Duelist guys gets Moonstone, and here I'm just kind of putting like an extra support item when my whole board is support items. You know what I mean? Yeah, like that guy got Moonstone. You'll see how strong Moonstone is, right? Look, this guy got Moonstone, and this is Ghost, and I barely beat him, and he's not even that upgraded. Watch. Like, they gain so much shielding, right? Like, look at the shielding. Look at this Annie. She's gonna gain another shield soon. It's insane. Like, look how close this was. And this is Ghost, and they have no upgrades. Right? And I'm pretty sure they get upgrades, and then they beat me. So the biggest throw of the game was taking a Zephyr, or taking another Zeke's over the, what's it called? Over Moonstone Gem. Moonstone, like, right now, what I needed is I needed a support item that helps my front line. And I just didn't get it, and that's really bad for me. I'm down for Deathblade for Irelia. Heavenly Spat's also okay. I can always fit in a Wukong, but somebody takes it instantly. Sage is a little bit bait. Like, I don't think I'm going to play Sage, but everybody takes it anyways. I'm pretty sure all the items are going to get gone. But yeah, I just take Deathblade for Irelia. It's okay. But this is what I mean by the Zephyr was pretty bad on the Irelia. Right? Everybody knows that I have Zephyrs, so they're in a position around me. It's a little bit hard for me to position this Irelia because I don't want to accidentally lose Zeke's value on... Like, the Zeke's value is more important, I think, in a lot of cases, or equally as important in a lot of cases. But yeah, it's alright. It's not the end of the world. As you can see, I have a lot of HP. I'm anticipating that I hopefully make it to, like, a second. I think I finished third this game. It just kind of sucks. It feels bad. Right? But we'll see what happens. Yeah, so he positioned Syndra in the middle. That's fine. I think I lose against this guy, if I'm not mistaken. I think he's just too strong. Yeah. Which kind of sucks. I really needed to beat this guy, but he's learning to spell with like a full faded board, right? There's a point where I get out capped, but as you can see, it was very close, right? I just need a couple upgrades and I could have beat him, but that's my own bad. As I said, this is a very low cap version of this board. Typically what you do is you drop to 5 Storyweaver and you play a bunch of legendaries, right? Rakan 2, Lee Sin 2, Wukong 2, right? You put Wukong in over somebody. I can always lose this guy for Wukong 2 as well, is what I'm anticipating. But I think the stun with the Nautilus is okay, right? I'm trying to make do with what I want. This works with Altruist. This works with Sage. That's why everything works out nicely. And you typically play like some quarter. You drop like all the shitter units, right? Now this is the guy that I think is very fucking strong, right? I'm pretty sure there's 6 Dryad, right? Level 9, 6 Dryad, Moonstone Gem. Like, this is where I fall off really hard, and this is what I mean by this board isn't that good. This Kale eventually doesn't really cut it, right? This Kale is like giga juiced, but it's like, it's a struggle out here, because I just don't have the front line to support it. Yeah. Okay, I win this one. But it was close. I'm pretty sure this guy beats me eventually. I think this guy goes second. One of these faded players goes second, and I go third, right? Which is kind of crazy to think about. I think it's this guy that just win streaks the whole game. Right? Oh, no. Do I lose to this Irelia board? I think I lose to this guy, maybe. I don't remember. I go third for sure. I'm pretty sure this game. Maybe I go second, actually. We'll see. I remember going third, but I might be confusing with a different game. But I have so much HP. That's what I mean. I was kind of like on the back pedal. I was like, I'll just take a second because I don't think there's any way I beat this guy because this guy was just so far ahead. I think they're going to be like level 9, fully capped, like fucking Kog'Maw reroll with like heavy hitters. Here, yeah, it's probably just TG. There's no frontline items again, right? Like this is my problem. Like, not taking that Moonstone was such a throw, right? I have a Wukong 2 maybe. I can maybe swap this for a Wukong 2 and get Sage in. I think Sage is probably more important than the Nautilus, if I'm being realsies with everybody. But yeah. See, I'm positioning my units this way, just because, in my head, I'm imagining that, like, you know, I try and break through this as early as possible. This is the guy that I didn't deny the Fawn from, right? But I'm pretty sure I lose against him always anyways. This heavy hitters, I just had so much tempo, so much, like, perfect items, right? Like, it's just so difficult. Like, I just can't chew through this guy fast enough before my whole board is dead, right? And I don't think the extra unit matters that much. It kind of does in a way, but I don't know. I don't think I would have beat him anyways. And then I think this guy's just too strong for me, and I think I end up going third here. Here I think I just give up on Wukong right? I just kind of accept that this is my board, go for upgrades, try and get my placements, right? Yeah, this is the faded guy. I think now the faded guy beats me because he got upgrades. So I'm trying to figure out how to position here. It's so hard. It's basically like a 50-50 with the Zephyrs. It's like a coin toss, right? Here I position both of them here because I'm anticipating that they're going to put the Syndra one spot here or here. So that's what I position. It doesn't grief my positioning too much. That's why I decided to put the Zephyr on the Irelia, because I can always put Irelia in the corner and keep her safe. But I think the Zephyr on Irelia just hurts the max cap, right? If I had a third Irelia item here, I probably win more easily. But yeah, as you can see, I just get absolutely demolished, right? Moonstone Gem, 6 Dryad. Yeah. And then I think I fight this guy and I'm just going to lose, right? And this guy maybe fights Ghost. This guy might actually be strongest in the lobby. Like this faded player, just because of the Dryad stacks. Like at one point they become so strong that it's like they're good. They're good to just win out. But yeah, I'm thinking to myself, like, do I live with 1 life? No. So I'm just going to roll. There's nothing really I can roll for, right? Everybody's upgraded except Rakan. So, like, you know, if I hit Rakan, I hit Rakan. Here I just kind of position like this. I'm hoping to get somebody. The problem is the Caitlyn, like, all of these units do a lot of damage, right? I really want to hit the Kog'Maw. Right, I hit the wrong 2 spots. Right, I picked 2 of the 4 spots. I hit the wrong 2 of them. So I'm probably going to lose this fight. It's a little bit... It's not even... It's really not close at all. Right? I might be dead right here. Yeah. I think this guy... this guy's winning. I think they're fighting Ghost. I fought Real. Right? So... It's just an unfortunate situation. But I could have saved some HP earlier. Right? But I finished 3rd. But this is like just by nature of the game, right? The game that we're playing where there's odd levels, right? I really had to commit to something. The Storyweaver line isn't that high of a cap, right? That's why you usually drop to 5 Storyweaver, right? As you can see, the Kale damage eventually falls off. You do ideally have something like a Spark or some other frontline item. If I had more frontline, I might have been able to beat this Kog'Maw player, right? Because my frontline was getting deleted pretty aggressively. And I might have been able to beat the faded player. So not taking the Moonstone was a great throw. But these guys are very far ahead of me in terms of like board strength and just like general econ. I also lose the long-term battle to Dryads because it's 6 Dryad that is stacking infinitely. So the longer the match goes on, which the match was pretty late, the chances are I don't beat this guy anyways, right? Just in terms of damage output. Typically, you want to put like legendary units in, right? I can swap out these 2 for legendary units. I can also lose 2 more units, right? I can lose Sivir and Garen, and I can just play 5 Storyweaver with legendaries. That would definitely be a higher cap version of this. But because I was so committed with, what's it called? With these, if you take Fine Vintage that you're playing like if you pick Fine Vintage and you're playing like this Storyweaver line specifically, then you need to have the 3 item Kale. Like Kale is your main damage output, so you need to have 7 Storyweaver, which kind of pigeonholes you a little bit. And then also the Irelia, putting the Zephyr. It was definitely Moonstone, and then maybe I can beat one of these guys and play for like a 2nd or a 1st. So you know, it's just a little bit of LP, but we'll take it. Hopefully this was informative, right? You can try it in your own games, even if it's not like the odd level interval one. Playing around Storyweaver Crown is very easy. If you're making items, typically you just want to make tank items and anti-heal, right? Because your Kale's going to do the rest. And it's a very easy line, and you just kind of work it out. Anyways, thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoyed this video. Tutorial should be tomorrow maybe. I keep saying it's the day after. I just don't have time to do it, but we'll see what happens. Bye-bye.